Cause we was confused.
Right.
We was like
at first, yeah.
What these
Because you just
cats?
confused me just now. But I'm saying, but no, you're right. You're right. That was a dope scene.
To the fifth dimension. Our only intention is to take you higher. I'm feeling some type of way. What can I say? Assalamu alaikum, namaste, out the way, out the shade in the sun. Thank you, Ray. Hallelujah for today to the Most High. Lahaim, I'm off time, out of time, timeless. I'm forever. If the pressure couldn't stop me.
Welcome to episode 10, Fresh Mint Podcast. This is Kev Mintz and my partner,
Josh Mintz.
I'd like to welcome you back. And we have a special show tonight. Josh Mintz is back in town. We're not doing a Zoom today. And we'd like to get right into it because we went to go see Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
The Black Panther 2. After we did a great job on
The trailer.
the trailer review. And now we want to talk about the film itself. We was waiting for that to come out.
Man, we couldn't wait. We was looking forward to it.
But we wanted to do it together. So what we did was wait for Josh to get in. It's been 2 weeks. It's been out. It's got record numbers for the first 2 weeks. It's number one in the theaters. And we wanted to get right into it. Let's talk about what happened.
Man, I feel like from the beginning, the beginning was very emotional. From Shuri when
The funeral.
yeah.
The funeral was tough. I mean, they opened with a bang. I mean,
Yeah.
they came right out with Shuri desperately trying to find a way to save T'Challa from his sickness.
Yeah.
They didn't disclose anything on that, which was probably tasteful. I think it was tasteful to do it that way. They opened up with a bang. They went straight into it, and it's very emotional from the beginning. I like to say that I believe that they took their time in trying to figure out how they wanted to go about doing this thing.
Yeah.
You know, after they had to go back and do the rewrite after Chadwick's passing. And it's very, very emotional right out the gate. It was something to see.
It really was. It made everyone's heart drop. You know, when we was at the movie theater watching it, everyone was just so. It was just quiet. The atmosphere was quiet in the theater.
Right.
You know, but they definitely took their time with coming up with something with, you know, his passing and how to make up like a story in
to tie it together.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and we had thought about it ourselves, like how are they going to do this when we were talking about the review.
Right.
They didn't give us an indication at all about what was going to go down, and it was heavy. It was heavy.
Even towards like the middle of the movie too. You know, that one part when Shuri had that little flashback with T'Challa.
Right.
You know, all the stuff they did together.
Well, I mean, it happened a few times throughout the picture where well, you knew that she was going through something, but let's not jump too far ahead. Let's take it from, you know, let's try to take a step by step look at this film. It was like you said, emotional from the beginning, but then they do jump ahead. They jump ahead a year.
Yeah.
Of his passing. And Ramonda, the queen, was trying to keep the kingdom, moving forward with his hopes of integrating, different parts of the world with their outreach programs and so forth. And a lot of countries were trying to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And try to get their hands on the vibranium for themselves.
Like in the beginning when she was in court and was it France?
No, they were at the I guess you would call it the UN Council.
The UN Council. France was there.
United States.
United States, yeah.
And
they all want to try to figure out, they all want to try to get the vibranium.
Right.
Trying to know, they want detailed, like small details of it.
They wanted a piece of that pie for themselves because the vibranium itself is very volatile.
Yeah.
It can be a weapon.
Yep.
And it can also help you bring your technology to another level. But they want to weaponize it to gain more power in the world. So that was the part that Wakanda had tried to. That's why they kept it silent for so long, for so many years, over time. Whoever was the king or the ruler of Wakanda at that
right.
in that whatever era,
right?
They kept it quiet to protect the world from itself. From destroying itself, because all these people just wanted power. They kept it to themselves and just built with technology around them.
The vibranium is mainly their power,
right? It powers their country in all its different ways, but they kept it safe from everyone else.
Everyone wanted a piece of it, man.
But turns out that it wasn't the only meteor of vibranium that landed on Earth. There was another batch of vibranium in the water.
Yeah. The rise of
Namor.
Namor, man.
Yeah,
you guys definitely saw Namor in when we did a review on the trailer.
Right. We discussed him He is a heavyweight.
He is, man.
He's a heavyweight.
And the little wings on his feet.
Right.
And it's crazy how he's able to, breathe in water.
On underwater and on land.
On land, so
Namor, he is considered by some in the comic books as one of the first mutants to arrive on the scene.
Right.
Because his people were of Mayan and Aztec descent, and they, from his stories from his mother of taking the plant and the herb from their standpoint, it turned them blue.
Yeah.
And they could no longer breathe the air. They could only take the oxygen from in the water. Their bodies were now cycling through water to get their oxygen.
Yeah.
So
and this has happened while his mom was pregnant with him.
With him, correct.
So
and that was a dynamic that it took a different turn. The thing with them was that they also kept it quiet, and they wanted to have just peace amongst themselves and live their lives and not be bothered with the land dwellers, as you would say. And but they were starting to get people coming into their area and trying to drill and do this, that, and the other, and to find this vibranium. Vibranium became the hottest ticket on the continent of Africa, and then now in the ocean off the coast of Central America and Mexico. So now, what they did was they blotted them out as quickly as they could. But now the confusion became, who did this to us? Was that the Wakandans? Because they thought that they were the only ones that had vibranium.
Yeah.
So everything that was going on, even when it was Namor, they were blaming the Wakandans.
Yeah.
So it was kind of interesting, the political parts of the film.
Because the U.S. definitely mostly think it's definitely the Wakandans.
Right.
But that scene when the Talocans was in the Atlantic Ocean.
Right.
And all the guys on the boat.
You're moving on the boat now. You're moving ahead.
Ship.
You're moving ahead of me. Which one?
With the
Wakandans?
with the Talocans.
Oh, that's right. They did. Right, they took that ship out.
Right.
Pretty much from the very beginning when they found the drill.
Exactly.
Oh yes, that was deep. I dug that.
Remember, they thought there was the Wakandans.
Wakandans, right? I dug that.
Yeah.
I dug that. How they did that in the water.
Cause we was confused.
Right.
We was like,
at first, yeah.
What these cats?
You just confused me just now, but I'm saying. But no, you're right. You're right. That was a dope scene. Talocan and when they got on that American ship.
Yeah, and like that siren you was talking about.
The siren. That's right.
How they forced them to just jump out the water.
They hypnotized them with like a song. It's something that has been like a legend.
Right.
Like from sailors going way back. And
there was two people on that helicopter.
Yes.
And they was confused too because they saw all the what do you say, like their soldiers or something.
Right.
Just forcing them to go down.
Just jumping.
And they was confused. And remember, they got one of them to not go down. They were like,
right.
Hey,
we shot the gun off.
Right.
The guy was he was
hypnotized.
He was free. Yeah. He got free from the hypnotism.
Yeah.
And they put earplugs in.
Mm-hmm. Right. They did. So they was, mind you, they had the two people in the water.
Right.
Looking for the vibranium.
Right. And they got taken out.
Yeah, they got taken out. They got taken out by the Talocans.
Right. And so it was really cool how they handled that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that part and then seeing the Talocan in action like that.
Yeah, man.
It kind of let you know that this wasn't going to be an easy ride for the Wakandans, and that they were going to have to go through something to get through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Because for one, these people have that that vibranium, whether it's the herb or the liquid or whatever the case might be, it's in their system. Because that's what they are. They're changed people. It's in their bloodstream. So mostly all of them are strong as, what you would say the Panther is.
Yeah.
So, they're coming at you from a whole nother level. It's not just one of them. It's just that Namor is built so much more differently than them. He has more
control.
Right. Because he's a mutant as well. So now it's more than just what is going through his bloodstream. Yeah. And he's as strong as Thor, and some say that, he can go one-on-one with the Hulk. So it wasn't going to be an easy task dealing with him at all.
So he was very powerful, man.
Right. And it came right from the beginning because, he's tossed around that drill, it was huge. He just picked that up and took it to Wakanda.
Yeah, man.
He just grabbed it and said, "Okay, let's go. We're gonna take this over to Wakanda."
Right. And
they didn't even hear it when he dropped it off there.
Yeah.
When he met up with Ramonda and Shuri.
Yeah.
So his introduction was really
sick,
really heavy.
We didn't expect that.
No, we didn't. I didn't expect it. We had ideas about what this story would be like.
Yeah.
But we did not know how he was going to come be a part of it. Mm-hmm. And they did an excellent job.
Great job
of incorporating him into this storyline.
They did a great job with that, man.
Yeah.
I think his like introduction to that storyline was A1.
Yeah.
It was A1.
yeah, man. So and now we have to talk about his negotiation with Wakanda when he met up with Ramonda and Shuri, and saying that he wanted to have an alliance with them, but they could only have that alliance if they were to bring him an American scientist to kill. And that's where things went awry. You know, when you first think about it, you say, "Oh, because probably some old white guy in a white lab coat."
That's how you describe an American scientist.
You know, in your mind, you're saying to yourself, "Okay," but it turns out that it's a young black woman
at MIT.
At MIT, probably a sophomore, if that.
19, yeah.
19 years old, right.
Yeah.
So she's a sophomore, more than likely. You know, 19 with a genius mind of hers. We don't know how long she's been there, but she's got
Riri.
She's got connections. This is Riri Williams, played by Dominic Thorne, and Riri was who made the vibranium detector.
Yeah.
You know, she put it on her cap, and she made that for the United States, and she was on Namor's list, on his hit list. So it made things kind of awkward.
Yeah.
It made things kind of awkward for Shuri and the Wakandans and Ramonda. They did not, you know, want that to go down. So it took the story in a whole nother direction, and
Shuri and they went to MIT to see her because they want to know all about, you know.
Well, first they had to try to keep her safe because now that she's on the radar of Namor, she was also on a black op radar. And she was also, the government was trying to grab her, and Namor's people wanted to grab her, so they had to get her out of there, you know, and try to keep her safe. And it was a tough task for them. It was a tough task. Now, so when Shuri and the sister, the general.
Right. Won the midnight.
No, she was still the general.
Oh yeah, she was still the general.
She was still the general at that time.
Right.
When they went, Riri was reluctant to get involved with them. She was a little afraid, and but Shuri, she knew, and she recognized Shuri, who she was. She knew she was the princess.
Okoye,
right. Okoye, the general. And Okoye, with her crazy self, you know, she's very, you know, self-conscious of, you know, leaving Wakanda, and, you know, coming into the public outside of Africa, and she's self-conscious of the way she looks when she goes on these excursions, you know, for the throne. So you know, Riri tried to make some jokes about her and whatnot, and she took it, you know.
It was a little funny moments in the scene.
Yeah.
That
you know, laughed. But you got to see, you know, Riri's ability to think quickly, and you got to see some of her tech.
Yeah.
You got to see what kind of person she was, as far as, you know, fixing grades for people and doing their work for them and helping them to get to where they wanted to go. So it was kind of interesting how they introduced her, but it was also really cool because you know, her backstory was coming together. You knew that she probably got some of those grants that Tony Stark was given to MIT students back in the Civil War.
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool to come back to that. And then that she was, you know, also a YouTube sensation as that person, whoever that was in the Stark gear. And so she was good. She was good with her thing.
Yeah, she did a good job.
In that first portion of it, where
like her little
they were trying to get out of Boston.
Yeah.
So that was
Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Right. Okay, I'm sorry, not Boston, Cambridge. So yeah, that was fly. I enjoyed that part. I liked seeing them, you know, put that together. The Talocan came.
Right.
Water bombs. And
those water bombs was crazy.
Yeah, the water bombs were tough.
One thing I like about that scene with the water bombs, they made the thing slow motion.
Right. They let you slow it. They slowed it down. They were like little grenades, and they were powerful though.
They were powerful. And I realized one of the Talocans, they had that.
They had the mask with the water in it, so that they could continue to stay on land for a little while longer.
Right.
So it was interesting.
I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool how they put that together. They were prepared. They like I said, they had a lot. They mirrored the Wakandans in a way with their technology as well. They had their own thing going on, and it worked well for them. So I mean, that scene on the bridge was tough. It cost Okoye her position, but. Yeah. It was heavy. It was heavy.
That's really surprised me.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get to that in a second. I kind of liked it though. I kind of liked it. They knocked Okoye out.
Yeah, and brought her to the water.
Right. They knocked her into the water. They kidnapped
Shuri.
Shuri says for them to take her and Riri to. You know, to Namor and not just kill her right there.
Right.
So it was pretty much. It wasn't really. It was a kidnapping in a sense, but
she told him to do it.
But she used her authority as a royal.
Yeah.
To make them do that, and they complied. So and she, you know, by her letting them know that she knew Namor in the sense of royalty, that they had to respect that, and they did. They took them back to Talocan. And when Okoye returned to Wakanda without them, Ramonda wasn't having it. Ramonda wasn't having it, and she
because she told Okoye, "Don't bring her.
Right, don't even take her in the first place." But she felt it would be good to get her out of the lab and away from all the things that
she was going through.
Right, she was troubled. You know, everybody saw that she was really going through it, and it was like a year after, you know, losing her brother. So she felt it would be good for her to get out. But she came back without him, and how's Ramona supposed to feel at this point?
Emotional, man.
Right, and
you know,
so she was stripped of her generalship and all her titles, and I'm sure it hurt Ramonda, but it was a bit much. It was, and that was another heavy toll, and that was you know, something that had to happen, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
she probably, you know, Ramonda, you know, promised Okoye not to bring her, and she told, you know, she gonna be okay. You know, nothing's gonna be happening to her.
Right.
And then now she comes back. She described without her and described what happened.
Right.
And Okoye, you know, loses her position.
Right.
That surprised me.
Right. And then Ramonda goes to Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
And we reintroduced now to Nakia.
Right.
And Nakia being the top flight spy that she was, she felt that her skills would work in trying to find Talocan and in trying to find, Shuri and Riri, hopefully, would still be alive.
Right.
So, and Nakia does what Nakia does with her skills. And
She did a good job, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did a good job.
She was able to get it in.
Able to get it in. Help. She helped them bring them back to Wakanda.
Yeah, but at the same time, Namor used that time that he had her there to show her what Talocan was all about and what their lives were like and how they lived and how they preserved their history. And like, again, as I said from, before, those two nations mirrored each other. They both had so much history, so much that they were so much alike in ways. At the same time, they had come to, like, all of a sudden it was like a warped feeling of hatred. Now the Wakandans had no idea what they were dealing with. They didn't know them, but Namor had heard the stories about them. And it turns out that M'Baku and other people had heard about the Talocan.
Yep.
They knew who was Khan, the feather serpent god.
Right.
And so there was some knowledge of them, on both sides and each other, but she had a little empathy towards their situation, but she also knew that his idea was, well, if you don't want to come along with me on this and we protect each other, then we have to go to war with you too. You're going to be included with the surface world. And so his ideas were a little warped. Shuri was torn. A lot of it had to do with her brother's death. She lost her father first. She lost her brother. And her ideas were a little warped. Losing her brother, he was her best friend. So, I felt like, okay, when Nakia came and she, was shooting her way out of there, Shuri wanted to try to help the Talocan woman that she had shot. But she knew that would lead to war if they, left it like that. Let's try to, salvage this situation. Let me help her. And she's like, we got to get out of here. So bringing her back, was her only job, and she did it. She wasn't concerned about, how the Talocan would take it. So when it went down, the next steps were, okay, Nakia's back in Wakanda, and Shuri's home. We got Riri out.
We got her in Wakanda.
Right.
Just what we wanted.
She should be safe. But that didn't last long. That didn't last long. Namor was, you knew he was going to be livid. You knew he was going to be upset.
Yeah.
He was coming. Now he came to, set the tone for the rest of this flick. We're going to go
destroy these.
We're going to get busy with y'all now.
Right.
So, there's pockets of water in Wakanda, but they brought water with them, and Namor is able to manipulate water. So
that's actually crazy,
Yeah,
he's able to manipulate water.
Right, exactly. So the flooding of Wakanda took place, and
that messed up the whole.
The capital city was like, it was going. It was going through, and it changed the pace of the story from there.
Right. Yeah.
The whole story, the pace of the story changed from there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I don't know, man. Oh my gosh.
It was a lot of chaos. It was a lot of chaos.
But so one of the key things that we saw was the bracelet.
Yeah.
From Talocan.
Yeah.
I know Shuri was, consumed with her grief, but she took that time to really study that bracelet and to take the properties from it to be able to recreate the herb. And we talked about that in the
review.
In the review of the trailers.
Yeah.
And my thoughts on it were that, her being this genius, that she would be able to synthesize, the herb in her lab at some point in time.
Yeah.
Now, I had no idea that it was going to happen like that, but it came together.
Yeah.
And that was the sad part as well.
Though.
Yes, I have to take credit. Thank you. But it also it was sad as well because the DNA strand that she had of her brothers was still up there, and had she been able to have the properties of their type of vibranium, it would have been able to help him.
Yeah.
And that was sad to me.
Yeah.
That was another thing that, changed, my thinking. I'm sitting there like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. She had been working on this thing feverishly.
Right.
And it took that, the properties of their vibranium.
Yeah, man.
To change that DNA strand from red to green. And it was also able to, recreate the herb. And hence, the new Black Panther would be born. But we have to go to the dark side and talk about what happened when she went to the celestial plane.
Oh yeah.
That was a real heavyweight piece. Shuri did not believe in that. She was against it. She didn't. She believed in science and didn't believe in the spirit world at all. It wasn't in her. It wasn't in her to go along with whatever, that was.
Yeah. Yep.
But when she was carried to the celestial plane, and it didn't turn out like she wanted it to.
Nope, not the way that she planned. Not the way she planned it, man.
And because at first of all, her anger. Well, it starts with that rough scene after the attack.
Yeah.
It does start with it starts with the scene after the attack. We have to talk about Ramonda.
Yeah.
We have to talk about Ramonda. Ramonda's death during the attack on Wakanda by the Talocan and Namor. Namor.
Yeah, he
angry and with rage over.
He got angry,
right? Over the rage, he had rage over the attack by the Wakandans and their reluctance to, become his ally against the surface world.
Yeah.
He attacked Wakanda with the Talocan, and he attacked the throne room with water bombs and flooded it. And Ramonda trying to save Riri.
First, they got drowned in the water.
Right. And he drowned them.
Yeah.
She saved Riri.
Yeah.
But she couldn't save herself because that was a bit much for, for her. It was a trial just to get back to the top of the area of the throne room.
Yeah.
And she drowned, and they couldn't bring her back. They couldn't revive her. They revived Riri.
Nakia and Shuri revived Riri, but they just couldn't do it to Ramonda, man.
Mm-hmm. So
that was another unexpected scene.
Yeah, I was really torn up about that. Ramonda. Yeah. Her elegance, her leadership.
She's a warrior.
Yeah. And then, Angela Bassett in the MCU. It's a great thing, to have someone of that stature, in Wakanda as the queen, and for her time to come to an end there was sad. It was sad for me. Again, as the story goes on, Shuri, we get back to the lab.
Yeah, she lays on the
she took that band, that bracelet. Yeah. And got to that point where she was able to duplicate the herb, and Nakia set it up for her to go to the celestial plane, which she didn't believe in, and she had a surprise, waiting for her.
She thought her mother was on
would be there, and her brother,
and her
father.
I gotta give myself credit from the reveal.
Right.
She sees Killmonger,
and you said, when is Killmonger going to be back on the scene?
Exactly.
And so we have to give you credit for your questions about Killmonger.
Yeah, because remember, at the end of the first one, T'Challa killed him.
Right.
So it was like, what's next after Killmonger got killed? So.
Right. And I didn't know whether Killmonger was dead. Right. Did the suit help, save him with the technology of that weave and the vibranium? Yeah. Because the Komodo beads, can do things to heal you. So the vibranium in the suit had to have some kind of technology in it as well. Right. Did Killmonger survive? Right. Well, now we know Killmonger is with the ancestors as well, but he is also in the conscious of Shuri because of her rage. Right. And now, so that was her visitor, and he, it
was crazy as they were talking. The fire was just all over the place.
It engulfed it like it did the grounds where they had the plants, all of the herbs.
The herbs, yeah.
Yeah, where they used to cultivate the herbs in that little hall, and the flames that engulfed it then when Killmonger had them burn all of the herb. Right. The flames engulfed the throne room. Yep. With water and flames. Those were the things that were entwined in Shuri's consciousness. So it became, apropos for what, she was going through. And that was a good scene. That was a good scene. We had to see her go through that. Yeah. And but again, she was not aware when she came out, and Nakia was asking her, "Who did you see? Who did you see?
Right,
was it mother?" And she would not talk about it.
She got so frustrated that she punched something. And
she punched one of the suits, one of the uniforms, right?
And the uniform just started flying.
Or a Mirage, yeah.
And then all of them were just all shot like,
"Oh, we got to get you a new uniform."
Right. And it worked.
It worked.
They all thought it didn't. Shuri thought it didn't work, but it sure did.
It sure enough did.
So the kid was like, "Hey, we gotta get you a uniform," and the uniform was beautiful.
It was fire.
And
she had prepared for that day.
Yeah.
You could, because
She'd been working on that.
those were his helmets were there, and
she had her
went
own.
to the next row.
Right, next row, right.
And she had her own helmet there.
The way that she wanted to
It had the braiding of the way that she would paint herself during the fighting of the first movie.
Right.
And also in the way that she did the dotting of herself in the funeral processions. The pattern was in her helmet.
Right.
So yeah, it definitely it was fly. It was fly. Yeah. It had a lot of gold braiding in it.
And didn't the bracelet that she wore when she's in Talocan, didn't she use that in her suit as well to had to do something with the water?
Well, she got more information from dealing with that. That's when they learned how to immobilize Namor.
Okay.
That he needed the water properties, even though he didn't have to breathe with it. His skin was some kind of way. Yeah, it had something to do with him having to have hydration. Yeah, and if they could dry him out, then he would weaken. So they learned a lot of things, and that's what scientists do. They take what you give them, and they break it down and try to find out ways to do other things with it. Yeah. So that was a real cool part. But when she went to M'Baku's
his place,
and they were having the
I guess the
summit with the people, the leaders of Wakanda from all the tribes, the tribal summit, and she came out of the
when she came out of that joint, the way the production on that was my favorite part.
When she came out of the ship,
hands down, that was my favorite part. When she came down the ship to see M'Baku, and the music, dun, 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 I'm like. Yeah. Yo, this is about to go down. Right. And they great job by the production crew. Right. With how they prepare that, how they did that. It just sounded like, okay, she's ready for war. Right. She's ready for anything to come. So. And
then the way he looked at her, and then he tested her a little bit. He
did a little.
He tried to hit her with a little bit of
arm wrestle.
A little arm wrestling going on, and she took his arm down. Right. So he's like, oh, okay. Yeah. It's the real deal. We're not fooling around.
Yep. And then she told him, be ready by tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow morning.
So her rage from the time that she was with Killmonger in the Celestial Plane till then, she knew, it was going to be about war now. Yep. And I think M'Baku knew that that's not what her brother wanted, and it's not what her mother wanted. She said, doesn't matter. That's what I want now. And pretty much, she lost the connection. Yeah. And that's why they weren't there. In the Celestial Plane for her. She lost her connection to them during this period of her rage. So, and it had to do, it was all emotion, but it has to do with the transition of life. She figures it's all over at that point, and her mother was trying to tell her, no, it's not. So the war came, and the war happened, and they came up with a plan to try to, to take out Namor, and things got pretty heavy though, for the most part.
That war was crazy. Yeah, that war was crazy, and not just that. Let's talk about the Midnight
Angels.
Midnight Angels.
We're going to definitely
and Okoye.
Aneka. Okoye. Yeah. Nakia. Yeah. Midnight Angels.
Sick. Their uniforms are very sick.
Yeah, that's the elite squad of the Dora Milaje, and another thing that I had talked about in the review.
Yeah.
But
Another good point.
I mean, I read the books a lot, so I know a lot about what's going on in Wakanda. So I don't want to take any credit for that, really. But they would fly. I mean, the way they put it together was done nicely. I really enjoyed it, and they did a great job. The final, the climactic scene of the Talocan and Wakandans after the invasion of Wakanda.
Right.
They figured out a strategy to meet them where they lived, and they went into the water with a ship.
I feel like that scene was pretty. It was sick.
It was strategy. The strategies were good. They put together all the tribes they all came out to help.
Yep.
And they did what they do.
Yeah, man.
It's a tough situation, but they went to battle. Mm-hmm. They used what they knew about what their tools would do against a stronger opponent.
Something that we was looking for.
Right. The Midnight Angels were a good touch. They helped change the strategy because I don't believe anyone knew they were going to be there.
Yeah.
But then the strategy of getting Namor to get into the ship, and she had the heating set up for him in there to try to dry him out and get him to a different location, take him away from that, and they had their one-on-one battle, which was it was interesting. Shuri has a thing going on with the suit. She loves those remember in the first one, she had those vibration things going on, those propulsion and stuff, so forth, and those broke apart, but those claws were still there. Those vibranium claws of the Panther.
They never fail.
No, they didn't fail. But it took all of that, and it seems as though in fighting, the Wakandans find their compassion. And even in the fighting in the first one, they were fighting against each other, and they start to find their compassion. And she heard her mother's voice finally.
Yeah.
When she needed it most. And Namor heard his mother's voice. And he was about to meet her. Because Shuri could have took him out.
Yeah.
And she chose not to.
But that scene when she got stabbed.
Oh, man.
And then she heard her mother, and she went through it. I was like, oof.
Yeah. That was tough.
And that last part, towards the ending, I love when she said, Wakanda Forever.
Right.
And just destroyed Namor.
The rest of the ship, right. And blew off Namor's back.
Yeah.
Burnt him up.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like with that Wakanda Forever,
because that goes back to the first one as well, when she was when Ross was in the modified ship,
right?
And in order for them, when the other ships had grabbed hold of it, she said, "Cross your arms now, let it go," and it blew off whatever the situation was.
That was
So she was prepared for that.
Yeah.
To be able to go at Namor. That was dope.
That was dope.
But
But yeah, that scene when she had the sword on him and they both had
the spear was in there, and then when she put it, next to his head, she could have cut off his head at any point.
Yeah.
Or she tore off one of his wings too.
Yeah. Because those are the things that helps Namor.
Right.
Was the wings help him fly.
Oh man, that's like cutting an Achilles,
Yeah.
But that was it was a good fight. It was a good fight scene. It was probably, planned for T'Challa, but it is what it is, and I think she did a good job as the Panther.
She did a great job. I think she did.
I believe that, moving forward, that they're, the Black Panther will be back, as they said at the end, and I still believe that they're going to move forward in another direction, and more than likely, I don't know if it's going to be a recast. I doubt it.
Yeah.
I believe they're going to go to the multiverse to find him, but if they do, that's fine too.
I feel like
this love letter to Chadwick Boseman is where it is, and it could stand alone if they wanted to.
Yeah.
The scene at the mid credit scene.
Yeah.
Back in Haiti.
Emotional.
That was very emotional as well.
And it reminded me of back towards the end of the first one. Mm-hmm. When T'Challa and Nakia they fell in love with each other.
Yeah, well, he's always loved her, but yeah. Right.
And then at the end of this one, the mid credit, they had a son.
Right.
Prince T'Challa.
His Haitian name is Toussaint, but his Wakandan name is Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa.
Yep. That got me a tear.
Yeah.
That got me a tear.
So I mean, this was an emotional love letter, like I said originally. I thought it would be, and it was. Mm-hmm. And at different points and times throughout it, you had to think about Chadwick. There were so many places in this film where you would think about Chadwick and what he meant to the situation. Even when Shuri became the Black Panther, I got emotional about it because I thought about him. Mm-hmm. And this was his space, as king, and then M'Baku going to the ritual fight to become the next king and ruler of Wakanda. Yeah, and Shuri didn't show up for it. She went to Haiti. Mm-hmm. And so will M'Baku become the new king of Wakanda? We don't know.
We might have to see that in the next one. But I feel like whoever...
I don't think she wants it. I don't think she wanted it to be in charge or rule the country. That's not what she wants. So M'Baku could quite possibly become the king. Or Nakia would have rights, but she doesn't want it. That's why she went to Haiti. That's why T'Challa chose for her to stay in Haiti. Yeah. During his sickness. Mm-hmm. So, but a beautiful film, a great film. It was an exciting film.
Yes. We all look forward to it.
We looked forward to it, and it definitely didn't disappoint. Nope. It was something to see, and I would encourage anybody who didn't see it yet to get out there and check out that film. Check it out, man. Because it's a dope film. I mean,
it's powerful too. It's powerful.
Yeah, too. I mean,
I like that. As the beginning of the movie, how they show like the Marvel.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They show
all those scenes with him.
And not even that. Even the one in Avengers when he was saving his father.
Right, they went back to all those.
They show every Chadwick
he did with Marvel,
and that hit me, man, because it was like, man, like I can't believe he's gone.
Civil War.
Yeah. The scene of Civil War. Endgame. Right.
They went to all of them.
That hit me, man. That got me that got me with goosebumps.
Yeah, I mean he'll definitely continue to be missed. God bless him and rest to his soul. Rest in peace, brother.
I know he was smiling and very proud of the crew.
Yeah, I mean it was very tasteful how they handled it. I believe they really, you could see it in the way that they worked, how much he meant. You could see it in the way it was brought about. I really appreciated that. they showed kindness, and it was beautiful.
It was great.
So, but yes, definitely a great event. Go out and see this movie.
Yes.
I don't know. We agreeing on something. This is great.
Yeah.
I think we agree. You know, we don't always agree on things. That's what we're about. But please subscribe to our channel. Like and subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcasts.
Spotify.
iHeartRadio. iHeart. We're all over the podcast world. Check us out.
Make sure you guys follow us on
IG.
On IG.
That tag is going to be down below right there.
Yep, right below.
So check us out, please. And
hit us up with any questions.
Yeah.
You know, in the comments.
Leave some comments.
Yeah.
Leave some comments, but definitely subscribe. We love you guys, and
definitely.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in, man. Till next time. And let us know how you guys feel about the movie as well.
Definitely.
Let us know what your opinions about it. What's your favorite moment, your favorite scene in the movie? Let us know, man. Let us know.
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate you. Thanks.
Better yet, why would you try? The letters from my ancestors spell out getting money together, so don't change with the weather.